I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about the idea of visions. It's something that I brought up in my last video, mentioning a vision that I had, and so I wanted to discuss like what the idea of visions means to me in relation to an experience with plant medicine or using IFS in a way that is visionary, and so I think the place I want to start talking about this is, the word vision being used in two different ways that I see, at least as regards to healing and using the teachings of plant medicine and of IFS to help perpetuate that or precipitate that change that we want, that we seek, so many of us. So the first way that I think to talk about, or the first type of vision that I would like to talk about, is what I would call an extant vision or a living vision. This is something that's an immediate thing that we might see or feel, commonly referred to as like a hallucination, but or psychedelic experience, this kind of thing. I think that word hallucination has a kind of a pejorative quality to it. It's kind of got a negative connotation, and the kind of experience that one has on a plant medicine like iboga is more than it's not a hallucination. It's more akin to a vision that one would have, like say in a dream or something like that, which would also be a type of extant or living vision, one that we like experience basically. And the other type of vision is what I call a fateful vision, or a vision for life, our vision for our life. And that's long term. It's not necessarily one experience, but it's a long term thought process, and involving visualization is often the word that will get used in that context of a fateful vision versus an extant vision. So I first want to talk about the idea of an extant vision or a living vision. And when somebody has an experience with plant medicine, a lot of times that is what they want. They want to see something. They want to trip. They want to hallucinate, have a psychedelic experience. And sometimes if they either don't see anything, or what they see is like not as trippy, transformative, or whatever as they might have expected, there can be a feeling of disappointment or of being like cheated, tricked. And so, I think part of for me, the way to like address that is to try to, of course, lower the expectations would be one. I try to have no expectations if possible before doing it, and then also to recontextualize what it means to have a vision, because I think that having an experience with iboga is visionary, no matter what. It is visionary, whether someone sees anything or not. You can have a vision without actually seeing something, is what I'm contending here. It's possible for our body to experience a vision. It's possible for our spirit to experience a vision. And it's possible for our mind to experience a vision. And I think it's possible to experience all three of those at once as well. And so, one of the experiences that I had while taking iboga was that I had what I perceived to be a vision with no visuals. And I was able to, in my mind's eye, go to a place, a familiar place, was often where Boga will take you in your visions. And so it's not that I could see it, but I could feel that I was there, and was able to trust my intuition enough to understand that I was having a vision, and that it was a kind of experience, I think, that, like, had I not had a very, like, visual experience with the Boga prior to that, I would have never been able to conceive of that a vision could be that way. And I might have, if that had been my first time with the medicine, felt like that I had not received the gift, that someone else had, because I would have had a preconceived notion about what that gift is exactly, and that it should involve, like, intense visuals and stuff, which it doesn't necessarily. And that's not really the, like, gift of it. The gift of it, as I said in my last video, is, for me, to help one see oneself. And that's what it was for me, and seeing myself doesn't necessarily mean actually having a vision of myself. It can be encountering myself in a different way. Not all of us are inclined toward visual thinking, and so having that kind of visual vision can be like a challenge. But there's an important link, I believe, between having a vision in a plant medicine ceremony and the kind of visual recall or visionary experience that an IFS session can be. Because when you go in and try to find these parts, you have your eyes closed, go inside, try to find parts, not hopefully, but if you're lucky enough to have a IFS therapist or a friend who knows about IFS helping to guide you, then all the better, or a guided meditation, or just doing it yourself. But going in, finding those parts, like, that is a visionary experience. And it may not be that we see a part, it might be that we feel a part, it might be that we sense a part with, like, our intuition, and parts can show us what they need, what they desire, what they fear, through ways that are visions, if we just sort of expand our definition of what a vision can be. And this is in essence what I'm saying here. So that an extant or living vision can be something that is transformative as an experience that you can reflect on, and then incorporate into your fateful vision, your vision for life, and how these two things can be connected and interwoven, and the transformative power of that, of having an extant vision that gives you direction with your fateful vision, is sort of the crux of where I think meaningful change can be on a personal level. And so, one of the things, like, if you've ever done the path meditation in IFS, this is one of my favorite meditations, and I have a lot of trouble whenever I do it getting my parts to soften back so that I can go on this path as purely myself with a capital S. And it almost always isn't until I give up and just say, well, I guess it's not going to work this time, because it doesn't always work. But the times it has really worked, it seems like I struggle and struggle to get my parts to soften back so I can actually go down this path. And then I finally like, okay, it's just not, this meditation is not going to happen the way I hoped it would. And then I just sort of resign myself to hanging out with my parts and in my mind here as I'm meditating. And at that moment, I'm able to free, that's when they're able to let go. And I am able to then go on this path. And one of the times that I feel like I really went down that path in a meaningful way and got some wisdom from the universe, that myself was able to show me this, was that doing that path meditation was for me the same as having a third eye vision. That having this experience with plant medicine that can open your third eye, allow you to journey into a state of mind and state of being that is inaccessible without the great gift of plant medicine. That's the same thing. And that doing this path meditation is a way for me to call forth an extant vision, which can give me some direction toward my fateful vision. And this is like the power of meditation, because of course what I'm saying about plant medicine, they say it can be done with meditation as well. And, I'm here for it. I believe it. I haven't done it, but that's, I've had some powerful meditations though, as I'm saying. So anyway, that to me was an experience of my own that showed me how connected these two things can be. So, but I want to talk more about the fateful vision. So how we create a vision for our life that is self-led. And I think that, as I just mentioned before, boils down to trusting one's intuition and to trying to allow for the unexpected, the unwanted, the surprising in a joyful way and the surprising in a difficult way. To allow for all of that to be part of our vision for life. And this is so challenging for us, because I think so oftentimes we feel like when we're unhappy, when we're the most unhappy, when we're the most isolated, or we're the most rejected, or we're the most wronged, put upon, when we feel like indignation, resentment, it can feel as though our vision for life is out of alignment. We're not living in alignment with ourselves. We're not being true to ourselves. And I think one of the messages that Iboga has for people who eat it is that you are being true to yourself, whether you even realize it or not. That the trying so hard to be something that we think we're not is part of what makes us feel like we need to try so hard. This is the circular logic of it. And so that not trying to be anything, but to simply be, is the thing that will make it feel as though we don't need to try to be anything. The doing results in the happening, and the happening results in the doing. And so, this is the hard part of it, because the vision for our life so often involves a vision for change, for a certain kind of change. so that we get a certain thing that we want. We feel a certain way that is better than the way that we feel a lot of the other times. And so we can chase and chase after that, you know. And to me, one of the things that Extant Vision can help us see is that we're on the path now, that we're living our life now, and that we don't have to change what we're doing so much as change how we perceive ourselves on that path. And so if our path feels full of guilt, resentment, anger, frustration, these are our parts. As we're trying to walk down the path, meditation, these are the parts that prevent us from going down that path. In meditation, in an extant vision, these are the same parts that prevent us from going down that path in our fateful vision through life. And so this is why the only, to me, like, not only, but one really powerful way toward healing is to stop walking down the path and to surrender to sit with our parts, to get to know them and love them and say, this part of me that is so angry, that is so sad, that is so frustrated, resentful, weary, how can I bring my own healing energy to that and be comfortable sitting next to those parts of us that we feel so afraid of, so worried about, so worried that are causing us problems, you know, and using the language of IFS to try to go to our parts, and then using the language that we know, the language of love, saying the words that we would have liked to have heard as a child but didn't. And that to me is like one of the ways of getting our parts to soften back, our protective parts, our managers, firefighters, to let us get to these exiles that they're covering up, is to think to ourselves, what would I have liked to have heard? And then say that to ourselves. And say it eyes closed, trying to have an extant visionary experience through meditation or through plant medicine. But in a simple way, just through meditation. I mean, you can just do it right now. Or with eyes open, looking into a mirror and saying nice things into the mirror, saying nice things to that part of you that is in there, that can see, and trusting that these different parts of us are real, and that we can speak to ourselves in a constructive way. So that's my thought on visions. I probably have more, honestly. Extant versus fateful visions, and how the two can be utilized, to bring about that change that we might desire, or a part of us might desire. So, we'll see.